We all do store coffee beans for a long amount of time, and we might have come across a situation where it might have lost its flavor. Do you know what might be the reasons causing it? It might be the case that you might have not stored it correctly. Today, let's dive into how to store your coffee beans. Welcome back to the App Barista YouTube channel. Today, we are diving into how to store your coffee beans correctly. We are here to figure out the ultimate method of storing your coffee beans. And to help you with that, we have got some great coffee storing equipments down in the description. You can check out the buying links and check those products out as well. But before we proceed, we all might know some common mistakes we are making in storing our coffee beans. If you know such common mistakes too, comment down in the comment section below. But also don't forget to hit the like button, share and subscribe for more coffee related content. So are you ready? Pick up your favorite mugs and let's dive right in. But firstly, let's see why coffee freshness is important. We all know that coffee is a blend of flavors and aromas, but do you know these amazing qualities can vanish in the blink of an eye, faster than you can say espresso. And that's where the adventure begins. Freshness is not just a trendy word or a jargon, it's the heartbeat of your coffee experience. So let's break it down and uncover some secrets of proper coffee storage. As every story has a villain, our freshness story has a villain too. In fact, we don't have just one, we have many. These are the troublemakers that harm our coffee beans. First on our list is oxygen. Once oxygen enters a bag of coffee beans, it starts a process called oxidation. These make our beans go stale and lose all its flavor that we love. Next is a silent killer, light. Light may seem harmful at first, but it damages the very compound that makes up those flavors in our coffee beans. The impact of light might not seem very sudden, but you can definitely observe it over a period of time. You can see how your coffee beans lose all its flavors once they are exposed to light. Then there is moisture. Moisture is the reason why you might see the formation of mold and eventually your coffee being spoiled. One wrong move, heck, even one drop of water and your entire coffee stock will go spoiled. Last but not the least, we have one of our final villains, heat. Heat doesn't do much on the face of it, but in the background it speeds up the chemical reaction in the coffee and it negatively affects our coffee beans. Now that we all know our villains of the story, let's see who are the saviors, the heroes of our freshness story. The first and the most basic thing that you can do is going for an original packaging. These original packages have seals with one-way valves. These valves are meant to keep the oxygen out of your coffee beans. These valves not only help in keeping the oxygen out, but it also helps in releasing the gases formed inside the coffee bag. Next up, we have airtight containers. Airtight containers are as simple as this sound. They create a tight seal which helps in blocking any air or light entering in the container. So these airtight containers are go-to options to keep our coffees fresh as possible, keeping it away from some of our main villains like air, moisture or light. We have curated a list of some of the best canisters in the market. To check those out, check our description. Now wait, have you heard that freezing your coffee beans can lock its freshness, or that refrigeration is a safe haven for your coffee beans? Well, these are just some of the myths floating in the market. Let's burst them. This myth suggests that freezing your coffee beans can preserve its freshness. Well, the reality is it's not the case. Actually, what it might lead to is absorption of moisture. This can in turn turn your coffee stale and make it lose its flavor sooner than you might think. Well, the concept of freezing does have some scientific evidence to it. But the freezing that we are talking about would require a temperature of minus 40 degrees Celsius or below. Now, the matter of fact is, the regular refrigerators or freezers that we have in our households does not go to such temperatures. So this, in our case, stays a myth. Myth number 2, refrigerating coffee beans. Now, this myth claims that refrigerating our coffee beans can keep it safe and sound. But the reality is that it introduces the risk of moisture absorption to our coffee beans. Now, most of our refrigerators aren't empty, so it also creates a risk of unwanted odors entering our coffee beans. Now, let's talk about right storage. Storages can be either short-term or long-term. Short-term storage. Short-term storage is for the beans that you might brew within a couple of weeks of buying them. In this case, airtight containers are our best friends. As we talked about earlier, airtight containers will help our coffee beans stay away from light and oxygen, preserving its peak flavors. Long-term storage. Long-term storage are for the beans that you might want to keep for extended periods of time. But here's the golden rule. Even if you want to store your coffee for a longer period of time, use it within a few weeks of your roasting date. Why, you may ask? Now it's because coffee will lose its freshness eventually, no matter what. But coffee has its peak freshness and contains the most amount of flavors in first few weeks of their roasting. So now no matter what, whether you're brewing the coffee tomorrow or a few months later, just remember, the closer the date of the roasting, the closer the freshness is. Now each method does have its pros and cons. Let's discuss those. When it comes to original packaging, the pro is that it lets your coffee breathe, releasing the carbon dioxide. But the same valve that helps in releasing the carbon dioxide also opens a door for oxygen and light to enter. Limited protection indeed. Now, when it comes to airtight containers, it's opposite to the original packaging. Now, well, it might save you from oxygen and light entering your coffee beans, but what it also does is, since the carbon dioxide does not get released, it might in turn make your coffee beans a bit more bitter. Now, when it comes to preserving those precious flavors and aromas of our coffee beans, the entity we all know by SCA or Specialty Coffee Association has some golden rules. Let's get into those. Well, as per the SCA, the first and the foremost thing that you should make sure of is storing your coffee beans in a cool, dry and dark place. Well, coolness obviously protects your beans from heat, while the darkness prevents from a slow killer light and the dryness keeps the moisture away. Next, avoid drastic temperature changes. If there are sudden temperature changes, it can lead to condensation in your coffee bean storage, which might eventually lead to moisture. When it comes to containers, the SCA recommends using airtight containers with CO2 valves. This is the best of both worlds. It also keeps the oxygen out while making sure the coffee beans release the CO2 through the valve. And finally, for the freshest brew possible, grind your beans fresh just before you are about to brew it. So you can step it up, like step 1, transfer your precious coffee beans into an airtight container which also has a CO2 valve. Next, find a cozy spot for those beans, preferably cool and dark, somewhere in your home. So this is the place where your coffee beans will be safe from all the enemies. No oxygen, no moisture, no light and no sudden temperature changes. And there you have it, our fellow coffee enthusiast. This is a wrap for this video. Remember, the key to delightful coffee experience lies in your hands, quite literally, in your coffee storage. So now it's your turn. Implement the ultimate coffee storage, elevate your coffee game and enjoy those flavorful cups of coffee. Last but not the least, don't forget to hit the like button, comment down in the comment section and subscribe to our channel.